That allows other archaeology to be done in relative impression to what motifs are on the rocks before then or after then. Because that was a seasonal change. Where did they all go? Where did the Maya go? Where did the Aztec go? Where did the Anasazi, the Pueblo, the Zuni, the Yaqui, where did they all go? They didn't just fade because of white, discovery or conquering. There was a purpose that was being driven, believe it or not. Navajo have the creation in the sky, the fifth world, that is a common statement used a lot now in certain circles. Oh, we're going into the fifth world. The fourth world is over, the fifth world is beginning. In every essence of the world, that's true. What that might mean to us as individuals, again, is a whole other story. So I've had to draw some information here from things to get into this. Native religion. The very mention of religion brings to mind notions of God, impotent and omnipresent and superlative matter, but nothing like this is found in native ideals. They have formulated complex abstract perceptions of a supernatural power or a pantheon that's pervading the universe. The Dakota used the term Wakantanga, which conveys a concept of the great sacred ones, or those who are collective to the great mystery. Some of us might call them the masters, or the archangels, or whatever. You could give them other relatively names. But their relationships to how those names and how they're portrayed in a lot of spiritual circles is not native by origin. I say this one thing to make one point. And I'm going to say it just once. I have to say it at least once. Too many games are played with native traditions by a lot of people. This is okay to a certain level until it becomes a complete deception. Deception is the law of the land in spirituality nowadays, and it's unfortunate. Still, you have your own hearts, you have your own minds. Keep that on the road as much as possible. And I would like to think that there's other people out there who can give you much better information. The best person who can give you information is yourself. Go looking, let your heart drive you to it. But here, Wakantanga as a cosmic or astral hierarchy. This is probably one of the main reasons why the white nations, when they started coming in, thought of us being heathens, because we didn't have this single God like they did. We didn't actually have a pantheon either. We had cycles and orders that we spoke in. There's a huge difference in that, in what's being portrayed as what natives believed in by a lot of groups out there. One of the things that's interesting here, though, is, again, I say aliens. I like the idea of aliens. Sure, I want to believe in aliens. I like the idea of a technology. They can give me an ice cream and have a little thing that's not this big and that big. And I can get a cone that's this big with a pistachio. That would be great. That would be awesome technology. That, to me, would be alien. These are human beings. Human beings with sticks, rocks, feathers, sinew, strings. The alignments that set up from the Chaco Canyon area all the way down into the Casa Grandes of the Chihuahua area of Mexico are all in one straight line. How is it that they were hundreds of miles away from each other without doing this? The reason why they're in a line is because there is a path that is being followed, a priesthood that is being brought about. We look at some of these small villages and we think to ourselves, oh, there only possibly could have been maybe 400 or 800 natives living here. Maybe at any given time, because the thousands of the others were roaming around. You're not going to find too many permanent encampments by Native Americans. They moved. Not because they were overtly nomadic, but let's say I have a tribe of 3,000 people. I'm going to start moving around. What have I got? What problems do I have to think of? Food, protection. Those were the two main ones. Because long before the white man ever got here, natives were killing each other. It's just that when the white man got here, all of a sudden we had a common enemy. But natives were still killing each other. They still needed to protect their lands and such. Some of them were friendly and some of them weren't. What's interesting here is that when we try to get into the religious idea of what natives might have had, it's interesting to me to note that these markings proved in the same way, and I can't think of the guy's name, excuse me. Driving stakes into the ground at particular latitudes tells you where you are in the solar system if you think about it further. And over hundreds of years of these relationships that they did, it's amazing to me that natives who were considered absolute heathens, we knew more about the astronomy of the sky than Galileo could have ever dreamed of. This is unique because these bonitas, these kivas and everything that are here, this flat wall has a lunar alignment and it goes all the way up the 108th meridian. Genius. Absolute genius. What could they do with it? They could predict time. They could predict motion of the skies. They could predict seasonal trends, weather. This is a science that heathens had. That's the thing that's amazing to me. Again, I always say, you know, the idea of these aliens, I got give the human beings some, you know? Okay. All right. Human beings. We're in a dumbing down process. It's like to think that we're becoming smarter as we get more beat up. So let's talk about that for a moment. The blue star Kachina, I find very interesting when I have a study on this, because so many people want to think the blue star Kachina must be way, 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 way out in the astral regions of space. Again, ignoring the idea of aliens, ignoring the idea that something outside of our known solar system has to be telling us what we're doing or manipulating our world. The fact that humans had the ability to think at these levels because their thinking was not being blockaded by CNN or Fox News. They had themselves. What's interesting about the blue star Kachina, what's interesting about any Kachina, is it's earthbound. It's attached to us, to here. Kachina energy, when you go into areas and look at some of the Kachina dolls and you buy them, what, on Route 40? Or whatever. Get your Kachinas, oh, they're hot. Some of them are very nice. Always make sure you turn them over, make sure it's signed. And there should be a number. An SRO number. Commonly also known as a prisoner of war number, because reservations are prisoner of war camps in America. Never mind the ones that are in Asia. We got them here. A lot of people don't think about this. The blue Kachina is said to be the ninth and final sign before the day of purification in its prophecy that will lead to the purification of planet Earth, the ninth and final sign. Well, the blue Kachina is the International Space Station, and I tell you why I believe this. If it's a blue Kachina, my dad, I'm adopted, by the way, everyone in my family is blonde and blue-eyed. I stick out like a sore thumb. However, all those years aside, I also grew up in a very strong Southern Baptist family, thinking like a native. That was fun. Still, my dad works for NASA, and one of the things I find very interesting, and a lot of people have done this, you look up in the sky at night and you see these objects that are blinking white, blue, and red. Now, I'm at a labyrinth gathering in Yuma, and I'm sitting in a crowd with about 30 people, and we're all sitting around the fire doing our native talk. And the woman who has the labyrinth center, of which there are like 20 different labyrinths there, some of them very small, some of them big, all recently designed. It's not like it's a historical site, but it is an interesting spiritual center because it's got some great energy there. She's sitting there and she happens to be 2 people away from me, and she says, I want to ask you something. Do you see the alien ship up there? Oh, which one? The one that's blinking red, white, and blue. Oh, you mean the geostatic communication satellite? No, it just stays there. Yeah, the geostatic communication satellite means it's locked into the geostatic revolution of the Earth. It goes where we go. Your phone works by it. Your telephone works by it. Your TV. Your internet. Ballistic warheads work by it too. Interesting what technology does. But the fact that it glows blue, white, and red is interesting. Why? Because of the silica that's in the solar panels that are on those devices to keep them up there. Now, the blue kachina is kind of interesting, see, because when we look in the book, Whitefeather, who gave this prophecy, you will hear of a dwelling place in the heavens. Pay attention to what he's saying. A dwelling place in the heavens above the earth that shall fall with a great crash. It will appear as a blue star. Soon after this, the ceremonies of my people will cease. Anybody here see the movie Gravity? You see how quickly that station was ripped apart by simple cosmic debris. That's what they live with up there. My dad worked for NASA. One of the things I do appreciate is the fact that when I was young, I got to be in all those buildings where places where nobody can go now. I remember. I don't like what I know about NASA, but I respect what I know about NASA, and I can usually tell the difference between when they're lying or when they're telling the truth, which sometimes they're very good at. International Space Station has massive amounts of these silica panels on them. So if you're looking up at night, you can actually see the International Space Station glowing red, white, and blue. And you'll see it glow blue more than any other color because it's the sunlight that's reflecting on the panels. A blue kachina. Now, where would he get this relationship? Let's take a look at the other signs. The first sign is the total coming of the white-skinned men like Pahana. Not living like Pahana, men who took the land with theirs, not theirs, and the men who struck their enemies with thunder. This is the European rifle and the advent of the rifle when the Europeans came. Second sign, our lands will see the coming of spinning wheels filled with voices. In his youth, my father saw this prophecy come true with his eyes. The Conestoga wagon. Third sign, strange beasts like a buffalo, but with great horns, will overrun the land in large numbers. Whitefeather saw this with his own eyes. Cattle ranchers. Fourth sign, the land will be crossed by snakes of iron. Railroad. Fifth sign, land shall be crisscrossed with a giant spider web. Telephone wires. Sixth sign, the land shall be crisscrossed with rivers of stone that make pictures in the sun. Highways. You ever look across a highway in the sun and you can see the vibration, the heat vibrations, and you almost see a color, it looks like it's just a mirage sitting off of the heat there. Pictures in the sun. What a vision. Seventh sign, you will hear the sea turning black and many living things dying because of it. Poisoning of the waters, we've had Fukushima. Now these are in order of their appearance. Eighth sign, you will see many youth who wear their hair long like my people. Come and join the tribal nations to learn their ways and wisdom. These are the rainbow souls. These are not indigo children, they're rainbow souls. Why? Because they've been with us before. The rainbow essence that's in that prophecy means that you have had many world experiences. You bring with you difference, change, constructive change. Peyote worship. I'll make this one quick note. I'm 58 years old. Looking damn good. You know why? Peyote. I was 7 years old, I electrocuted myself through the mouth by putting a nightlight on the end of a extension cord, and my brother and I were playing G.I. Joe on the end of our beds, you know. We would take the nightlight and put it in our mouth. Why? So one of us could be the moon. We're smart like that. We're 7. My brother goes, my turn! Okay. It didn't come out all the way. I had to take a breath. I brought my teeth down on the prongs of it. I wake up in the hospital. My brother is looking at me on the side of the bed. He goes, that was cool. You went into the wall, into the bed, into the wall, into the bed. Why? Because we had what do you call it?